This is Dates and Mates with your host, Damona Hoffman.
Hey, lovers, welcome to Dates and Mates. This is the place where we are going to make modern love simple for you. I love talking about what's really happening in the world of dating and relationships today. This ain't your mama's dating and relationship show. This is Dates and Mates with Damona Hoffman, and we have a very interesting show lined up for you today. I will be chatting with the author of a brand new book, literally just came out today. It's called Dating While Disabled. And I know this is something if you're sitting at home and going, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Like I don't have a disability. I'm fine. I want you to really flip your thinking here, because if you are single and you're out there in the world of dating, or even if you're not single, you may be interacting with people who have a disability. It could be a physical disability. It could be a visual disability that you can tell that they are living with, or it could be something that's totally invisible. And you need to know how to interact with people when you're in the dating and relationship space, how to be sensitive to people's limitations, and how to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward in the world of dating and relationships. So I'm so excited that Christy Goldstein will be with me in just a little bit. Producer Thomas is back in the house.
Finding my groove back after a while away.
All right, Stella.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah, Stella got her groove back. Here I am.
Well, there's a lot of people getting their groove back in the headlines today, I'll tell you. There's sparks flying between the stars of two hit TV shows. I'm really excited to share this couple alert with you. And there are some new dating terms that I have to get you up to speed on. Interestingly, Producer Thomas, a couple weeks ago, I mentioned ghosting to someone. They were like, I don't know what that is.
Really?
And I was
Still
like,
in 2018?
yeah.
I feel like ghosting is very common.
I feel like it's very common.
Yeah.
When I was like, clearly I'm not doing my job. And I said, you have to go back and listen to this episode and this episode of Dates and Mates. But
we've got a whole encyclopedia for them to check out.
We did. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's an idea.
Oh,
the Dates
wow,
and Mates
look at
dating
that.
encyclopedia.
A little bit of web content there.
Oh my gosh. I know what you're going to be doing this week.
There we go. Oh.
But I actually hadn't heard of a lot of these terms, so I cannot wait to share them with you all at home. We'll also talk about dating while sober. Really important. And I'll share the surprising reason why most women cheat. Why not most women, but why many women who cheat. Yeah. This is the reason that most of them are cheating. Okay.
We made it.
We made it. We have thought-provoking questions from you as well in Technically Dating, including how to survive a relationship with a narcissist, and what to do if you have a crush on an older man. Plus, I told Producer Thomas I was going to do this last week. I forgot because I am a mom and I have a mom brain. But I did it today. So back in September, I did something called the Damona Daily, where I picked a word of the day from the angel cards, and then I gave you my insights as to how it relates to dating and relationships today. And I thought, wouldn't that be fun to try that instead of an inspiring thought, which we've been doing for a couple of weeks, to try something with the angel cards. So if you love this, by the way, share this episode with a friend, email me and tell me, Damona@DamonaHoffman.com. So here we go. I am shuffling around the angel cards and pulling one card out, and that says truth. Okay. Truth in dating and relationships. By the way, this is completely not scripted. This is dating advice.
Live improv.
Live
folks.
Improv, dating and relationship advice. But I actually just did an article this week. It was either on Bustle or Elite Daily. I'll have to double check. I'm not sure. I've been doing a lot of quotes for them lately. And they said, what is more important in a relationship? Truth in dating. It was right there. See, this is improvised.
No polish.
But they asked if truth was important in a relationship. And I really wish I could find this article, but we'll share it in the show notes. And I was like, you have to have truth. You have to have trust in a relationship before all else. That is the foundation of any great relationship. And if you cannot trust your partner, and if you believe your partner isn't truthful with you, then you have nothing to build the relationship on. I will also say truth in dating profiles is really important. I was working with a client who is in her early 50s, and she had on her Facebook her age was younger. It was 43. And so then when she went to set up this dating app, it pulled over the Facebook data and it said that she was 43. And then she was disappointed with the matches that she was getting. And it all came down to how you're putting yourself out there. If you're not being truthful about who you are, you're going to attract someone that's looking for something else. And people always ask me, can I put down my age a couple years in the dating profile? And I think, well, you could, but what is the result that you will get? Does it make sense to do that when you're looking for someone who's going to love you for the whole of who you are? So, truth in dating. First time we've done this angel card thing.
Yeah, went pretty well.
I did okay.
Yeah.
I wish I had that article that I was referencing that I couldn't remember the title
Hey,
of.
it's live and you're giving the people the raw authenticity.
But I will share it in the show notes at datesandmates.com, and make sure that you are leading with truth in your dating life and in your relationship. Let's move on to the headlines, shall we?
Let's do it.
Dee's dating dish.
You watch Superstore, that NBC show?
I watched the first season, and I thought it was actually very good.
It's very good,
Yeah.
and it stars one of the stars of the show, Nico Santos. Actually was in one of my diversity showcases back in the day.
Oh, nice.
And I've been tracking him on Facebook, but I didn't realize he's in a relationship with not just anyone, with Zeke Smith from Survivor. If you're watching on the Facebook live stream, you can see these cuties here together. Here's the deal with Zeke Smith. Zeke Smith made headlines last year when he was on Survivor, and during a tribal council meeting, he was outed by another contestant, Jeff Varner, who he's basically used that as leverage to sort of save himself on Survivor from getting ousted. He was like, well, you're not being truthful. How come you haven't told anybody that you're transgender? And everybody was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then they gave Zeke a minute to compose himself, and he was like prepared to come back and defend himself and say, like, this is why that was wrong. And everyone else from his tribe actually came to his defense first. And I think it's important to bring this conversation up, especially considering that it's Pride Month. Mm-hmm. And you have to be sensitive to people, to when people are ready to share their truth. Oh, there goes back to the word.
Nice
their
connection.
truth. You know, if Zeke had wanted people to know that he was transgender, he would have shared that.
Yeah.
And that's not about being deceitful, or it's not affecting his performance on the show. It's about it's about what he wants to share with those people and when he's ready. And you also have to consider he's on national television. Does he want everyone in his world to know, like, oh, well, that's not Zeke, that's so and so that I grew up with, and have all of that judgment? He said he had a lot of anxiety that came up again when the show it aired like a year after, and all that anxiety came up. And so I'm just really happy for him that he's in the headlines again, and for being in a relationship with such an awesome person, Nico
and they're
Santos.
very cute together.
Look at how cute they are. They're super cute together. Nico's gotten really skinny. I'm not sure what to think about that, but he's been working really, really hard at it. And so congrats to the cute
happy couple.
Yes. Okay, ready? Get out your pen and paper. We're going to give you the roundup of dating terms. This one, Producer Thomas,
Yes.
shave ducking.
Yes, I was...
Shave ducking.
Yeah.
I thought this was something real kinky.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not. It's very literal, almost.
It's basically like, is it about the guy's hair, facial hair that you're attracted to? Or is it about him?
People do look different without beards. Like, it is a distinctly different look. So I can see how this could affect a relationship.
When was the last time you went beardless?
Completely clean shaven, I think, was summer of 2015. So
oh my God.
3 years I've been fully bearded.
Summer's coming.
Summer's coming. I don't
Couple
think
more
I'm
days.
going clean shaven. I think this is about as trim as I I aim for. But
Okay, here's a question. Were you with your lady when you were clean shaven?
yes, when we met, I was since we met in high school, I could not grow a beard yet. So the beard was more cultivated during college.
Did you have a conversation with her like, "Hey, I'm thinking of growing a beard," or "I've been working on this beard for about 4 to 5 years"?
Luckily, I'm Armenian, so it comes in very quick in terms of facial hair. So it wasn't really like that weird, awkward stage where you just have stubble for forever. But I was kind of like, "Hey, I'm gonna grow a beard," and she's into it if it's not like super, thick and.
You gotta groom it.
Yeah. This is
maybe
the
you should
version.
shave it just to see if she's really into you or if she's just shave ducking.
I'm confident. I'm confident that she's into me, and I don't really like my look anymore, clean shaven. So I think I'm keeping the beard.
Oh well, I'm sure you look
Yeah,
fabulous
yes.
either way. But what about ghost busting?
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about when someone you ghosted keeps trying to contact you. We had a question I was thinking of using for technically dating about someone who got blocked, and she was like, should I try and message him on another platform?
I think she would get ghost busted then.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I used it in context effectively. Cushioning, I've heard of that one before. I think
we
might have
didn't
talked
really
about
explain
that.
what ghost busting was, though.
When someone who ghosted you keeps trying to contact you.
yes.
Yeah, right. Cushioning, someone's relationship is not working out, so then they start texting you as a cushion for their fall when the relationship's not going to work out. Drafting.
This one was interesting.
I feel like drafting is like an old term that we've brought back.
Really?
Okay. So I'm bad with sports analogies, but I love making that. I don't know anything about sports, but I love sports
You confidently
analogies.
make them.
Yeah, so it's a pregame for cushioning where someone will see if you might be game. Like they complain about their current partner and they're
See
like,
what comes back.
If only I was with someone
right.
that was more
Like
like
you.
you. And let me just see. Like this,
Yeah,
I'm just going to
yeah.
draft them.
Test
I'm
the
going to put
waters.
them on the bench
Yeah.
and see if I can use them as a cushion. And this one is also brand new to me. Dationship. Not relationship,
I
a
thought this was
dationship.
interesting as well.
So I've heard of situationship, but dationship is a relationship where you know that the other one isn't the one. So it's basically a situationship, but that you enter into completely aware. I like giving you guys like the nuance of the words, right? So because I don't want you using the wrong one. My favorite show is back, Younger, on TV Land, and I know it's not an appointment viewing.
Yeah. I've not heard of it. I'm sorry.
It's girl porn basically.
Okay.
Like this woman is 40 and she's pretending to be 27,
Oh.
and then the two
dream.
guys are in love with her.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
dream.
there you go.
And my husband hates the show, but I'm always like, it's really in your best interest to let me watch the show
right.
because the good things always happen to you after I watch it.
Oh, okay.
So I watched it last night, and hey,
Congrats, Seth.
I watched it last night, and in that episode, she's 40 and she's trying to figure out how to use Instagram, and somebody tells her about somebody sliding into the DM, but then she doesn't realize that the nuance of it is that there's a little bit of a flirtatious undertone when someone slides into the DM, and so she's talking about sliding into Reese Witherspoon's DM, and it's just like wrong use of the word. So I want you to use dationship effectively. It's not the same as a situationship. It's when you know that you're going into a situationship that is not going to turn into something more. Sober dating. Okay. So Psychology Today looked at just how much people are drinking before a date. So many times people say to me that they want to feel comfortable. Yeah. But here's something that was very interesting. Did you know, Producer Thomas and folks at home, that 36% of people drink before going on a date?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't...
Before a date. You're going where you're probably going to go drink.
Right, keep drinking. Yeah, because I mean, like, I guess it's not that surprising if people have like one, but didn't they say that they have like up to 3 sometimes before the date?
It could be up to 3, but then people go on the date and half
more.
of people have 2 to 3 drinks on the date itself.
So you're looking at a 5-6 drink night if you play your cards wrong.
Or right.
Yeah, I guess. Depends.
Jinx.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. And I talked about this in my book, Spin Your Web, How to Brand Yourself for Successful Online Dating. Because I want you to be clear on the dates. I want you to be able to make the decision that you want to make. And when you add alcohol to the mix, it just really confuses things. So I always say set your drink maximum before you get to the date. And mine was always 1 because I know at 2, I'm 5 feet tall. So if I have 2 drinks, I'm going to make some decisions that are
You wouldn't
not
necessarily
going to be,
make,
yeah. I'm going to make some different decisions. So you have to really set that boundary for yourself before you even get to the date, because if you haven't decided that for yourself, then you start to feel the vibes or you're feeling nervous and you will overdrink. So check out this article at psychologytoday.com and you might get some new insights on how you go about dating. Okay, we want to do one relationship story, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to introduce you to Christy Goldstein. There was a recent study that suggests women cheat actually to save their relationships, not to get out of them. This was in the Sun, UK magazine, and it turns out that, you know what's really driving a lot of women to cheat? It's orgasms. Many of the women that were surveyed were dissatisfied sexually in their relationship. They were not having enough sex. They said sometimes like less than once a month even, which is kind of nuts to me to think. So they were like, well, I like everything else about my partner. He's a great father. He's a great provider. I enjoy my time with him, but we're just not having enough sex. And so if I go elsewhere and I have sex elsewhere, then we can maintain a relationship and I don't have to like be the nagging wife trying to get you to have sex with me all the time. You know, wives and their pesky need for sex. Interestingly, only 5% of women cheaters get caught as opposed to 17%.
Yeah, I was surprised by that statistic.
Are you surprised though? Because women
are more crafty.
Women are more crafty. Yeah. But this was a really interesting article. I'm surprised that it wasn't like, I would think this would be all over the U.S. magazines too.
Yeah.
But maybe it's time for us to be the ones breaking the news
on the vanguard
to you.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have Christy Goldstein of Dating While Disabled, the new author of the new book. Stay tuned. Hey, I have a secret for you. Everyone gets bored in the bedroom from time to time. And whether you're single or in a relationship, there's a way to spice things up at adamandeve.com. They have one of the largest catalogs of adult products around, from lingerie to things that go buzz. Adam and Eve has just what you need to revitalize your love life. And my friends at Adam and Eve have just the thing for you, a secret bonus. I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you you're going to love it. And your partner will too, if you have one. Best of all, you can order online at adamandeve.com and they will ship your items to you in discreet packaging, so the neighbors will be none the wiser. And if you use my promo code, shipping will be free. So go to adamandeve.com and enter the promo code GIFT21. You can get something for him, something for her, something for you both. And you will get a total of 10 free gifts if you use my code, plus free shipping. So don't be shy. Live out your fantasy at adamandeve.com using the offer code GIFT21 at checkout. Welcome back to Dates and Mates. I'm your host, Damona Hoffman, and I'm super excited to bring my guest to you. Christy Goldstein is a life and relationship coach, as well as a sex coach and sexpert. Y'all, it's going to get a little steamy in here. She's currently writing for Your Tango and her own website, ChristyGoldsteinTheSexpert.com. She's been featured on everything from BuzzFeed to Thought Catalog, and she's spoken on the topic of dating with an illness. And she is the author of the brand new book, Dating While Disabled. Please give big smooches to Christy Goldstein. Christy, welcome to the show.
Hello.
So I'm really excited for you. First of all, your new book, Dating While Disabled, comes out today. And I know this has been a long journey for you. You've been writing this book for a couple of years, and it all began with your own story and your own disability. I know people look at you and they're like, she looks fine to me. But you have a disability that you've been living with for your entire life and didn't even know it for a long time.
Yeah, I was not diagnosed with my illness until I was 25, and I was actually diagnosed on a fluke.
Wow.
So
Tell us about it.
My illness is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a connective tissue disorder that affects my collagen, and collagen is pretty much everything in your body, between your joints, your bones, your skin, your organs. It pretty much affects everything. So I can dislocate every joint in my body.
Oh, wow. So that sounds like a fun party trick, but
it is. When I was younger, I did a lot of little tricks to show people how flexible I was. But as I got older, I realized it's hurting me more than it wasn't fun anymore to be showing them and then actually have a dislocation, and then that hurts a little bit. So
right.
I stopped doing that.
And I'm sure it's shown up in dating situations or maybe even sexual situations.
Yes. I've actually dislocated my hip while having sex. So that was fun.
That must have been a cute that must be a cute story.
He didn't realize it. So it was kind of funny because it slipped out and then it popped right back in. So he didn't realize it until I yelled. Oh,
so it hurts when it hurts when this happens.
Yes. Yeah.
And he thought he was like, oh, I'm really like doing something here. He's she's screaming out, but it wasn't that kind of thing.
No, his roommate actually came in, rushed in because he thought that I was dying or something. So it was hilarious, but hilarious for them, not so much for me. But as you look at it now, it was hilarious.
So as you're dating now and getting to know new people, mm-hmm. When do you reveal the disability? And I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who might have a disability that people aren't aware of. I have a very good friend who has a hearing impairment, and mm-hmm. people don't even realize that she wears a hearing aid until, you get a closer look. So it is a question of, when do you reveal that disability? When is it before the date? Is it when you're on the date? And does it depend on what kind of disability you are living with?
It depends on the disability, because with mine, since it's invisible, I don't have to tell them right away. Some people, if you're in a wheelchair, you're obviously going to have to tell them a lot sooner. But when it comes to me, I've done it both ways. I've done it where I've told them immediately, and then I've done it when I've waited for a couple of weeks to tell them. And honestly, if you tell them immediately and it doesn't work out, then they know something about you that they don't really need to know. So I have been telling people, if you can, depending on your disability, to wait until you see if he or she's going to actually be in your life for longer. Because it's a very personal, issue that you have with yourself, and you don't want just anybody knowing everything that you have.
Yeah, I always say in dating, you have to let someone earn certain information. So it's like, if it's something that you wouldn't say in an initial job interview, or like the first time you meet someone at a cocktail party, maybe it's not something that you would want to say on the first date.
Yes, I wouldn't. I mean, honestly, the times that I have told them on the first date, it goes two ways. It either says, hey, I'm so sorry you went through that, or you never see them again. They've gone into the abyss of ghosting, and so you never see them again. So it's either one or the other. And for me personally, I don't want that pity, because my illness, it does suck to live with it, and it's very painful, but it's also made me who I am today. So it's
I like
kind
that
of
perspective. I like that perspective. And it's also like, I used to be a diversity executive at NBC. And a lot of times I was advocating for people with disabilities and trying to get more people with disabilities on television, so that people are more aware of mm-hmm. what others might be dealing with, and just so you have that representation as well. But a lot of times these actors would tell me, well, I don't want to be pitied for my disability. And like you said, like, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is part of my story, and this is part of who I am. But do you find mm-hmm. sometimes when you are dating and you share that information, that then it's like, then it becomes like they're coddling you or babying you and treating you differently?
I've never had that, because a lot of the time when I tell them about my illness, they end up thinking that I'm exaggerating it because I look so healthy. I've never had somebody that was so attentive and so concerned about, if something was going to hurt me or not. So I've actually not had to deal with that. And a lot of people with invisible illnesses deal with that because you can't see it. So people think you're lying or exaggerating it, or that you have Munchausen syndrome. I don't know how many times I've been told that I had that, even from doctors, friends, family.
Wait, what is that?
So Munchausen syndrome, it's basically where you're taking other people's symptoms and putting it on yourself. I know there's by proxy as well, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which is either a family member or a parent that is making you feel sick when you're not sick. So they put that type of, they just pretty much tell you what your symptoms are, even when you don't have any. That's the by proxy. But Munchausen syndrome is basically you don't have anything wrong with you, but you like the sympathy for it.
So it's quite the opposite in your case. And it sounds like you're kind of talking about illnesses that are that are more mental now than physical. And let's be real. I just heard a statistic the other day that 1 in 5 people is on some sort of an antidepressant or mood altering drug. So a lot of people are out here. I know I told everybody at home, I'm like, don't turn away because you think this doesn't apply to you, because 1 in 5 of you guys listening is taking a mood stabilizer, which in a way is it is an illness. It is something that I wonder if when you reveal that to your partner, if you're dating.
In my opinion, I have anxiety and depression as well, and ADHD, but I do not tell them that until I know that they're going to be staying around for a while. It's hard to do that depending on if you have bipolar or manic depressive, where you have extreme highs and lows. Luckily, I don't have that, so I'm pretty consistent. But with regards to my illnesses with mental illnesses, I just don't tell them until I absolutely have to. It's none of their business if they're not going to be around for that much longer. So
I have to say though, I have a friend who was dating someone who had bipolar disorder, and she did not reveal it until way later. And it ended up becoming a huge factor in their relationship. And it was very hard. And I think you mentioned in the book a lot of people that have different disabilities and illnesses, and many celebrities that do live with bipolar disorder. But it does really impact your relationships. And I feel like if you have something that is that severe, that can really manifest in a big way in the relationship when you're under stress, because we know relationships are stressful, let's be honest. Yes. I think you have to bring that person into the conversation sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have no problem with people telling, the person that they're dating, within the first couple of dates. I just recommend doing it about a month or two later, because when you date somebody, especially in the beginning, you don't know if they're going to be around. And I live in a small town. I mean, Columbus, Ohio is very small, and I don't want my business out there. I mean, if I was not somebody that wrote about it, I don't want my business out there. So I just tell people, until you see that they're going to be around for a while, you need to gauge that obviously with your intuition, if they're going to be around for longer than, 2 dates. Right. So within the first 30 days, absolutely, you should tell them. But before then, I just don't recommend it.
Okay, that's a good rule of thumb. Well, I know, Christy, you are also Christy Goldstein, the sexpert, at ChristyGoldsteinTheSexpert.com. And you couldn't write a book about dating while disabled without giving a little bit of sex advice. So talk to us about sex with a disability, and then I want to just get into some general sex advice too while I have you.
Okay. With a disability, like depending on my day, because some days my knees are dislocating, some days it's my hips. It just depends on the day. So if I'm having a really bad pain day, but yet I still want to have sex, I use a lot of yoga mats. They're helpful, especially if you have back pain, just to position your body just a little bit better, so you're not going to be hurting right afterwards. I also recommend using a lot of pillows. And, you know, you have to play around with it because it all depends on your body and obviously that the day, you know, because every day is different when you have chronic pain.
And how do you communicate that to a partner?
Well, it depends on the person. Yeah. It does. But with most of them, I just tell them it's better for the G-spot. Because if you're up a little bit more, then you're going to get the G-spot a little bit better.
Which is true for everyone listening.
Yes. Yeah. So it just depends obviously on who they are. But I also recommend if you're on top, that they have a pillow underneath their back as well, because it curves, their penis too. So that helps.
Okay, yeah. Christy, pop quiz. Ready?
Yeah.
What's the most undervalued skill set in the bedroom for a woman?
Wow. If the man is giving it to the woman, or the woman is giving it to the man? If the
woman is giving it to the man, what skill does she need to master?
Blowjobs.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. Producer Thomas just crawled under the desk, and he is mortified, and I'm not sure he's coming back.
My virgin ears are burning.
Women, unfortunately, nobody's taught sex. You're taught by secondhand knowledge or, your next partner. And so with blowjobs especially, it's not like women are taught how to do them. And from my understanding of what men have told me, women are not very good at them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they're not very good at the other stuff,
I know.
They're not.
I told them, I said, look, a blowjob and going down on a girl is very similar. You like how your technique should be. So if you're not good at going down, or you refuse to go down on a girl, then you should not expect to have a blowjob done either.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. And I know in your book, Dating While Disabled, you do give a little bit of advice on that.
Yes.
You give actually a lot of advice on that. So all the ladies listening, if you are not sure of your BJ skills, Christy Goldstein, the sexpert, will get you up to speed in Dating While Disabled. And that is available today on Amazon. Okay, Christy, we have a couple questions from our listeners that I'd love to get your insights on.
Okay.
Technically dating.
And these questions are provided by our partner, the Techspert app, which you can download for free in the App Store. I just got my new iPhone X. I'm pretty stoked about it.
This is an ad spot?
No,
I'm just kidding.
Not at all. I'm pretty stoked about it. I was really concerned about. I was like 8 or X. I just got the X. I guess they
what
call
are the
it
new
10.
features? Now that we're on the topic.
Well, I don't want to get into it. This is not. They're not paying for this. But I was going to tell you that the Techspert app works great on my new iPhone. Thank you. Okay, Christy, you still with us?
Yes.
This comes to us from a female. She's 28. She says, I feel like I'm stuck with my narcissist fiance. Things have gone up and down like a roller coaster, and honestly, I am not as happy. And I hate that my 1-year-old son is witnessing my unhappiness at times. I'm stuck for more than one reason, and I'm trying to get out. He's not hurting me or anything. He financially takes care of me, and even though I am in school and still work, I could take care of us. I guess I just don't want to be this stressed out. Christy, I hear this all the time from people who know that they're in a relationship that is not salvageable. Like, it sounds to me like she's not happy. He's a narcissist. He's not really attentive to her needs. And yet, she can't get out. What's your advice?
It's more mental, and obviously if she has a child with him, that makes it harder because you don't want the child to be separated from their father or mother. But you have to take into account what the child is seeing. And when you're dealing with narcissists, yeah, he may not be hurting her physically, but mentally he is. I mean, they play those mind games and everything is your fault because they're the godlike figure and nothing is ever wrong with them. So I would obviously think about your son first, or your daughter, whichever you may have, and think, what do you want them to be seeing and hearing? Because those, especially from, baby to 5 years old, everything that they see and hear are things that are shaping them as they get older.
Yeah.
Especially during that age. So if you're, allowing him to see, I mean, people say that they don't fight around their children, but they feel the energy. So they know when things are not going well.
Yeah, and she says that she doesn't want her son witnessing her unhappiness. And I think it's also important, like, not that you have to be like happy and sunshine all the time for your kids, but if your child is really seeing you suffering, that's really unhealthy for them. And it's not healthy for you. I think, you also have to put on your own, what do they say? Put on your own mask before you help someone else on the plane. On the plane.
Oh, on the plane. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So she's got to get her own oxygen mask on first.
But I mean, you're training that child to show this is what you're okay with. So this is what relationships are okay with. Right. So you need to pull that back because they're going to assume that anything that to deal with a narcissist, or they become a narcissist, that this is acceptable behavior. Yeah, and she says he's not hurting me or anything, but physically, mentally, right, and emotionally, he is hurting you, and by staying in the relationship, it is doing further damage. So, getting out of a relationship like that, I think you first have to just make the decision that you're going to go, and then you need a plan. The fact that she knows he's a narcissist, that's great. That's great, because most women, they make, excuses for people's behaviors. Completely. And Queen, 28-year-old Queen, you deserve something better. You deserve to feel happy. You can feel happy in a relationship. So make a decision, make a plan, and get the heck out of there. Your son will be better off for it. I think people stay together. They think it's better for the kid if you stay together, but it is, especially at this phase, it's definitely not. If I would have if I had any choice, my parents would have been divorced a lot longer, because they divorced after 20 years. I would have had them divorce or not even get married, because I saw what the type of relationship they had, and it was just not healthy. Not healthy at all. Healthy relationships in 2018. That's what we're going for. Okay, I have another question for you. This one comes to us from a female who's 21. She says, I'm in college and I like a man who manages our computer lab. I'm in my early 20s and he's in his 30s. We have really amazing conversations and we hit it off super well, but he's a very timid person. I like him a lot. And I don't know how to act around him or to figure out if he's interested in me at all. What should I do? I'm a very direct person, so I just ask. I mean, even the age difference, if she was a guy and it was a girl, I would say you're probably not going to work out. But women are more mature than men. That's just how biology works, apparently. But honestly, I would just subtly ask, if he's dating anyone, if he, would like to go out to dinner to talk about, the computer lab, whatever you guys are working on. You can make it. I would just really love to talk about the computer lab. I just have so many computer lab ideas. Hey, well, he'll know. I mean, he'll know. He'll know. Yeah. He's like, she wants to talk about the computer lab. Oh, it's on. Yeah. Yeah, my only hesitation though is that what we don't know is what the role of the computer lab manager is. Like, in her school, it doesn't really say. So yeah, if he's a teacher, run away. Yeah, but if he manages a computer lab and how long are you going to be in this lab for? Because if it's just a couple more months and you will move on, and then if it doesn't work out, you will not necessarily you won't be seeing him, or he's not impacting your grades or your ability to graduate or anything like that, then I think it's totally fine. It is an age gap. It is an age gap. I did date
guys in their 30s when I was in my 20s. I will say that.
I
But
was 18 and dated someone 34.
yeah,
So.
but you're kind of in a different phase of life. So that's the only thing. Like, she's still in college. He's like on with his life.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on, is it early 20s, 21, or is it early 20s, 24, 5?
Are you about to graduate? Because, sometimes when you're 21, you might be a junior, about to be a senior.
Right. So I would just think through that. Like, I always say, play the relationship forward to its logical endpoint. Is this something like you could see yourself building a life with this person and
She's
sticking
21.
around?
She's not even thinking about that, I wouldn't imagine.
She's not, but that's why I have to advise the people. I have to give them not what they want, but what they need.
There you go.
So she needs to like really play this through and see like, well, could it work out? And if it's like 51% believable, then see what happens if the stakes are not too high. All right, we have another question. Since you are the sexpert, Christy, we're gonna get a little more risque than we often do. Producer Thomas, avert your eyes.
I know.
No. This one comes to us from a female. She is 19. She's from the United Kingdom. She says, my boyfriend was so horny on the phone because of me, apparently. And then he asked for nudes to help and stuff. But I said no. So he said he was going to go online and find stuff to help satisfy him. Do you think I'm right to be pissed, or am I selfish because I didn't send him the nudes? I don't know if I'm in the wrong, but it made me upset. But then again, he's a guy, so...
Nobody's in the wrong or right on that. If you're not comfortable with sending nudes, most men are going to be looking at porn anyway. That's just... They think about sex, 20 times in an hour? So they're going to be looking at porn. He's just at least letting you know that he's going to be doing it.
You think it's like him asking for permission, basically? Like, I'm going to do it. It's like asking for permission without asking for permission?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. Instead of just saying, well, if you're not going to, I'm just going to go on porn, and just look at that. With social media and technology nowadays, sending nudes is not something I recommend. Because
yes, girl. Do not.
Screenshots are a beautiful thing. So, if you FaceTime with somebody when it's live, it's kind of hard to do screenshots at that point. It just depends on the person and how much you trust them, how long you've been with them. But if you haven't been with them long, I just don't recommend sending nudes at all.
I just never recommend sending nudes because you just don't know. Like, it takes one
if you're married
iCloud hack, and
true.
There's your goodies all up there for your grandma and everybody, exes, everyone.
Delete button is your friend, though. Clear history. Delete.
I have to tell you, like, I have the iCloud, and all my stuff is like in 7 different places, and then we have family sharing, so that's like networked. And now believe it or not, I gave my almost 8-year-old daughter my old phone. Not so she can be texting or whatever. She wants to play Toy Blast. Oh, that is the thing now.
I'm not aware of Toy Blast.
But I'm like, what if we family share? What if my nudes pop up on there? Like, you really got, like I said, you really got to play all this stuff forward.
What's funny is like I'm writing an article right now about sending nudes, and on my phone right now I have 76 pictures of people's penises. 76 different people.
And this is going to go into the article, huh? This is going to be a very popular article.
I'm not going to share the pictures, but I'm obviously going to say, look, these don't go away. They don't go away. And if you're in a long-term relationship or marriage, I don't have any problem with it. Depending on what you do for a living, obviously, because as you said, iCloud is
forever.
It can be hacked. Forever. I wouldn't recommend me doing it.
It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your penises are? No, it could be anywhere. This is such great advice, Christy. And I love that you wrote a book from your own personal experience, but that's really meant to help everyone to be more sensitive, to dating someone with a disability and to ask the right questions and to really put their best foot forward on a date. So I appreciate you sharing all of your advice with us today. And there's so much more advice from Christy at Christy Goldstein, thesexpert.com. And get yourself a copy of Dating While Disabled on Amazon today. Thanks for being here, Christy.
Thank you for having me.
It is Pride Month, Producer Thomas.
It certainly is.
And I thought this would be the right time to take a walk down memory lane of Pride. It's time to go in the time machine and roll it back a bit.
The romance rollback.
Producer Thomas, we sit here and think, oh, everything has been sunshine and rainbows, actual rainbows and rainbow flags forever, because, you know, if you're our age, now I'm going to rope myself in with your age.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it was not so taboo to be gay when I was young, and that was like
Even
yesterday
more so.
for you.
Yeah, right.
So, but when you really look at the timeline, we haven't had gay pride for all that long, and we also we still have a long ways to go.
We have a long ways to go, especially with our current political administration.
I am not making a political show, I've been told, so I'm not going to get involved in that. But it turns out that really the first national gay rights organization in the country was only founded in 1951. I actually think that they had a meeting spot in Los Angeles that I walked past, the Mattachine Society. But really, things really got up and rolling during Stonewall. So this was June 28th, coming up, 1969. Police raided the well-known gay establishment, Stonewall Inn, in New York, under the premise of them selling liquor without a license, which was true. They were selling liquor without a license, but here's the thing. They weren't giving licenses. They weren't selling the licenses to gay bars. So it was like a catch-22. They could not operate, basically, and sell liquor, which people like to do at a bar, you know.
A key facet of a bar experience.
Yeah. So basically, it was this big violent raid, and this is what really energized protests around gay rights. And at the time, there were only 50 to 60 gay groups in the United States, gay rights advocacy groups. And 1 year later, there were 1,500. And so the first Gay Liberation Day March was just 1 year later, 1970. And Stonewall was the first Pride March in New York City, and San Francisco, LA, and Chicago. So that was when we started marching, but it really wasn't until 2000 when Bill Clinton proclaimed June as Gay and Lesbian Pride Month, and Obama continued this legacy. We don't know what's going to happen going forward. But I also have to mention that Harvey Milk was a major force in moving the gay rights movement forward. If you guys don't know Harvey Milk, like, read a book or watch the movie.
It's pretty good.
Very good movie. But he was a San Francisco politician who was assassinated, and he was just one of the big leaders in the gay rights movement. And it was for him that Gilbert Baker stitched the first rainbow flag. He was like, we need a flag for this. Yeah. So the first rainbow flag was stitched in 1978. And it was launched just before Milk was assassinated. So let's keep the legacy going. Let's keep fighting the good fight, because it hasn't been all that long.
Yeah.
And we have the whole month here in June to celebrate gay pride, LGBTQIA. Some people are wanting to add S, which I guess is for straight or supporter. I don't know. I don't need a letter. You guys have the month. Yeah. It's all good, but I am supporting you. And I'm supporting all you at home to find the love that works for you, and make sure that you are leading with truth. Remember the angel card from the beginning? Leading with truth and authenticity in your relationships. If you have a question for the show, why not email me, Damona Hoffman, and you can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. You can slide into my DM if you want. It's not going to go that way for you, but I'd love to hear from you at Damona Hoffman. And get yourself a little bit of goodies at adamandeve.com. Don't forget to use the offer code GIFT21 to get your free shipping and your free gifts, and to download the Textpert app, maybe on your iPhone 10, maybe on another phone. I don't know. I did a great job of bringing all the pieces back together.
Yeah, that was quite an outro.
Thank you so much. We'll be back again next week when my guest is Rachel D'Alto, who has been seen on Married at First Sight and so many other shows on Lifetime and FYI Network. She's one of my favorite dating experts, and I cannot wait to have her on the show with you next week. See you then. Until then, happy dating.